Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, both classic and new comics we want to read, and everything else in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. Today we are reviewing one of the... It's a sequel to a book that we really enjoyed. We didn't do it last year for this holiday. I'm going to call it a holiday.
Oh, a holiday book.
It's not really a holiday, but it's a special week in American TV, I guess. It's Shark Week.
Shark Week.
Hell yeah. So last year, or was it last year? I don't know. Sometime, I think it was last year, we did a book called Hookjaw, which was about a killer shark. It was a series in the 70s that was from Britain, and it was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So I happened to notice that there was like a revamp done in 2017 that was like, it's... the tagline on the cover was, "If Tarantino rebooted Blue Planet." I was like, that's a high...
That's a hell of a tagline.
Yeah.
High
So
praise.
let's see if that's true. Because the first one was fantastic. Even though it was dated and everything, it was still fun and very funny to like read and everything.
Yeah. Like there's disclaimers at the front of that one. There's definitely some things at the time.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
But overall,
it's from the 70s. There's definitely some questionable racist stuff
Yeah.
in it or whatever.
But what did it do right? It did a killer shark sentient of a hook that is in its jaw,
Yes.
hence the name Hookjaw,
Yeah.
and it uses that to its advantage.
Yeah. It
To
will
get
kill
people
with
to
it.
kill people with that, and then also rip them to shreds.
Yes. So like many times in that old series, the shark just like, I'm gonna spear you with my hook. He doesn't think in that one though, or it doesn't think, because we get a revelation in this book that changes the whole framework of Hookjaw. but yeah. So in that one, Hookjaw is very much a. It's also a great white shark, we should say.
Yes.
That was the only like really good thing about this book, is that in the 70s they didn't know how to draw sharks because there was no like underwater footage that they could view of any of these things. And then now we all know what a great white looks like, and they fucking nail that shit.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
It looks great as far as like, a shark should look.
A great, almost like a white shark.
Yeah,
A great
it
white.
looks great as a white shark, So so yeah, this book just like is a sequel, I guess, to that. They don't say it's a sequel or anything, but it's like, it's maybe it's a reboot. I guess it'd be a reboot.
No, well, I don't know, because they say like there's something there. They're like, it's like it's Hookjaw, and like
So they already,
there's
okay,
an
yeah,
old,
you're right,
like,
you're right.
lore of it.
So is this shark 50 years old? I guess. Or
I
something?
guess.
Whatever. But
Sharks
yeah,
live a long time. They're dinosaurs.
sure. Are they?
Well, they've been around since the dinosaurs.
I'm like, aren't dinosaurs reptiles, John? This is a fish.
Were there not dinosaurs that lived in the ocean too?
I don't know, John. Megalodon
Maz-
went around.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Have you watched the Meg?
I have watched the Meg. I watched it this week for Shark Week. We watched that. So, so anyway, so yeah, I'm going to call this a soft reboot.
Okay.
Basically, it's a reintroduction of this weird
That's
70s
good,
thing into new audiences, and I don't think it did that well because there's only one volume of it, and there's only 5 issues. So, but the writer is Cy Spurrier, with art by Connor Boyle, I'm assuming, and so yeah, like I said, the art was like probably the best thing about this. But like, Cy Spurrier, I've read a couple of his things. I think there's another guy named Cy that I get confused with him sometimes, but I believe Cy Spurrier wrote Hellblazer as well, like recently. So, and I thought that was a pretty good series. I haven't read enough of his stuff to like judge him too much, but some people say like he's like trying to be edgy or like trying to be the new Warren Ellis or
Wants to
whatever.
be edgelord. but-
Yeah. Like he's trying to be the guy that wrote Transmet. You know what I mean? Like he wants to be that kind of style, but he doesn't quite have the edge or something. I don't know if that's true. That's just what people have said that I've heard. But there were definitely some flaws in the writing in this book, I would say. But we will get into that. First, though, we'd like to welcome and shout out our patrons and our newest patron, Ed H. We appreciate it very much. And as always, thank you to Hoku and Otaku Mike, our regular patrons, I guess you call them, our active patrons. They support us all the time, and we really appreciate that. And if you guys would like to join our Patreon, it is patreon.com/planes, trains, and comic books, all one word, at gmail.com. We got a couple tiers. There's the blue and gold, which just lets you participate in polls and get like the updates from us and everything. It's just kind of like our standard regular membership. And then we also have, if you enjoy the Matt's Minis Swamp Thing series and you want more of that in your life, I'm doing a Hellblazer Matt's Minis series where I'm going just like Swamp Thing. Every issue of Hellblazer, starting from issue 1 all the way through 300. We're at issue 30 of this week. And so, if you want to get some more of those Matt's Minis in your life, definitely check that one out. Right now, there's a special going on. We have a super fan tier that is only $2, but that has limited spots available. So definitely check that out if you're interested. Otherwise, you just have to sign up for the regular price of that tier. So, but anyway, back to our regular programming.
Regular scheduled programming.
Hookjaw. So, like we said, this is the new one from 2017. It's, the only thing you need to know based on the cover and everything is it's a killer shark, right? That's the way you pick it up. You're like, holy shit. As John always looks at things and he sees giant sharks, he's like, what's that? So, we immediately know that that's what this is about. But we start off kind of in the same spot as the original series, where there's like a guy in the water and there's a storm going on and it's night. And he's like, it seems like this person is like a survivor of like a crash or something. And this is the different thing about the 70s comic and this one is Hookjaw has like a thought, like thoughts in the page or whatever. Like it's narration, I guess. Yeah. Thought narration. It's not thought bubbles. We don't see, most of the time we don't see Hookjaw until they're attacking, but the thoughts are just kind of written out on the page.
And in very like serial killer looking letters.
Yes, yeah. And so we see someone floating in the water and we just see the word flesh. And then the guy goes like, what's that? And then is tasted from secret spheres, wrong flesh. Like, I will say I did not really like the language most of the time. Like it seemed like too fancy for a shark. I don't know. Like tasted from secret spheres.
How dare you? How dare you judge? You don't know what sharks are capable of.
I don't, but just from watching Deep Blue Sea, their brains are small unless we enhance them.
Plus, as we all know, sharks are naturally peaceful.
Yes, of course.
They only bite when you touch their private parts.
Fish are friends. All right. So, yeah, like I don't know. The way that it talks is definitely a little bit. It's not how I would do it. If I was going to do the shark, I would do the flesh and blood,
like full on Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Flesh, blood.
Yes. So I don't know. He wanted to be more poetic or something, but yeah, it just we see the writing in this.
It also wasn't British. It should have been like tally ho.
I don't know if Hookjaw's supposed to be British. I know the writer's British, and this is a British series. But these generally take place in the like Florida Keys or whatever. So, and this is off of Somalia, which is like completely different area than Hookjaw was before.
We don't know Hookjaw's, sea patterns. There
whatever, yeah, swimming patterns. Who knows? But yeah, so Hookjaw kills this person in the water, and it's like, man, I don't know about that. It doesn't taste that good. That's not what I'm looking for. And it seems like Hookjaw is after like a specific meal most of the time in this. I don't know why.
Bad people, maybe, or
is that what it is? Because it kills a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe there's something about people who. I mean, so the people that the shark enjoys eating seem to usually be
the bad people.
The
That's
evil
true.
people. So maybe
and we only know that
though.
We only know that because
of the actions we see.
Of the action, well, the writing that, or the thought patterns that it says or whatever. So, yeah, it's interesting because it'll like eat someone and then it'll be like, that was the wrong flesh. But it's nourishment. That's fine. And so like, what is it? How does it know you're evil if you're just floating in the water? You know what I mean? Like, I guess it just kills you and then it'll know by the blood if you're evil. So evil's genetic is what I'm hearing.
Yes. the evil blood is runs hotter.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes. All right. So then we cut to now. I guess that was the past. Now we get now, and we cut to the main character of this book, who is named Maggie. She is a scientist, or she's like a helper of a certain scientist. There's like a scientist team that are trying to track great white sharks and their migration patterns, and they're on a ship called the Sola. And there's a professor, and she is like the head of this team, and Maggie is like one of those team members. So I don't know exactly what Maggie does. It seems like she's like the assistant because she has to go out and do like she's the new intern or something. She has to go do the shitty stuff like be on a tiny kayak and while great whites are swimming around, and then you have to like tag them, and they're like, and the professor's like, "Don't worry, you'll be fine." And it's like, what if I fall in the fucking water? But I thought this was funny. I don't know about you, John. I am a fan of the movie Grizzly Man.
Oh, yes.
And I felt like the professor in this was a lot like Timothy Treadwell in that she would name the sharks funny, silly names, even though they're giant monsters. So in Grizzly Man, he'd be like, "Oh, that giant 1,000-pound grizzly is named Melissa or Sergeant Brown or Brownie or whatever." You know, like,
yeah.
And then
I remember that.
And then so the professor in this names the sharks like Dorothy and Carmel and stuff like that.
Big Bertha.
So I just think that's funny. Like I don't know if that was a reference to that or if it's just like, oh, they love them or something. I don't know.
I think all scientists say, or when they're out like that and they're like they all kind of start to give them names after a while. Seems like it.
Yes. So it seems like there's a bunch of sharks in this area that are all female, at least initially, and those are the ones like Dorothy, Big Bertha. Actually, Dorothy's missing. That's like the key thing of this. Like, hey, we haven't seen Dorothy in a while, but Big Bertha, Carmel, whatever the other ones are called, they're like Sweetie Pie or whatever. They're they're in this area and they're being tagged with like electronic tracers so that they can track their movements and see what their patterns are. Yeah. And then we get the introduction of another character. His name is Jasper, right? Mm-hmm. And Jasper is probably the most annoying character in this book. He is like a hippie, but also an asshole. I don't know.
Well, like a hippie, but one that doesn't have like it isn't like.
He's a modern day hippie.
Yeah.
Let's just say he's a like cynical hippie or something. Like
he
doesn't quite believe everything he says, or he'll like turn on a dime on things if it suits his needs or whatever. But like at the same time, he'll like lecture you about polluting the planet or whatever.
Yeah, but then he'll also he also uses some like racist remarks and terms in this where it's like, wait a minute, like I thought you were the like kind of like
the
kind like
guy
it's very odd.
Yeah, so
very much the asshole.
So they introduce him and he's like mad at the sharks because he found like a dolphin like a baby dolphin that was cut in half, and he loves dolphins apparently, and or not cut in half, torn in half by like sharks, and then he's like, these fucking animals. It's like, yeah, they're sharks, bro. Like. What are you talking about?
Circle of life.
So I really hated this guy. This guy was probably the most annoying person. There's even people who are supposed to be bad that I was like, I don't mind them nearly as much as I mind this guy. And this dude, unfortunately, lives like the entire comic for the most part. I was like, when are they gonna kill this motherfucker? Because the shark needs to take care of some business, But they finished doing their tracking, like putting the trackers in the sharks. And then they go back to the ship, and they hadn't heard from the professor for a while. They were trying to get her on the comms, but they're like, oh, maybe they're out or something. When they get back on the ship, they find out, oh, it's taken over by pirates. And the funny thing, the professor doesn't seem bothered by this at all. It's a normal occurrence off the waters of Somalia. Somalian pirates come, they raid the ship, they leave. They don't take any of the scientific stuff or whatever, I guess, or the information that they need. They only want like goods or whatever. So she doesn't care about that. But unfortunately, this escalates because like we'll go to like there's a scene where we see like from the underwater point of view, and it's like the sharks being like eating and be like, what is that or whatever, like I don't like this. And then that's Hookjaw saying that. And then, like, this tastes funny or whatever. And then we see, like, Navy SEALs come out of the water, and they start just shooting all these pirates. And they set up the pirates to be, like, not threatening. So, like, you're supposed to feel bad for the pirates, even though they're pirates or whatever. I don't know how realistic these pirates are. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, this is one of the points that, like Jasper is, like, talking with them. And one of the the boys on the ship. I guess he's part of the kitchen crew.
Yeah.
His name was it how you pronounce it, Liban?
Liban, I'm assuming. Yeah.
He is also Somalian, and when
he's in on it basically.
Yeah, that's what Jasper makes it seem like too.
Well, Jasper wasn't wrong, but he didn't have to be racist about it.
Yeah, no, because he what does he say? He says something like, these poor uneducated savages. And
yeah,
yes, dude.
Yes. So he's kind of progressive, but from the early 1900s progressive. We'll take these savages out of their savageness or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of how he's progressive, I guess. But so the Navy SEALs show up and they just start murdering all these Somalian pirates. And like I said, you're supposed to feel bad for them because they haven't done anything really bad yet. They've just been on the boats with AK-47s, but they're not killing anybody or raping anybody or anything.
Yeah.
So and also Jasper's not wrong. Like we said,
that's true.
Liban or whatever his name is or Liban is in on it. He's part of these pirates. I assume that's how they know where the boats are. Is Liban gets a job on one of these boats with tourists or whatever, then he tells them, hey, they have this or that on the boat, then they get pirated, and then he leaves with them or whatever. So it seems like they have a thing going on. But once the Navy SEALs show up, they begin shooting all the pirates, and all this blood starts falling in the water. And of course, the sharks are yes, and we see Hookjaw's dialogue or thought process in his brain going fish. So, he's eating everything that falls in the water, of course, and I think it's the main bad guy or the main pirate, I guess. I'm assuming this is the father of the guy who was at the end, who's the leader.
Yeah.
This guy's supposed to be super nice or whatever, but he's a pirate, and then, but he gets shot and thrown overboard right away, and then torn in half by Hookjaw. And whenever they show Hookjaw about to attack someone, it's always a POV shot, so you see the hook, and I should say it's not really a hook; it's more of a spear from a spear gun or something that's sticking out of its jaw. And so it's not really a hook, but they call it. It was the same in the 70s one. It was why do they call it Hookjaw? I guess because it's looks like the barb of a hook. I guess.
It seems like the spear tip, as it comes to the edges, is curved a bit. So I guess it's like a hook.
Yes,
it can hook into people.
Yes. So obviously, the pirates get subdued, and the Navy SEALs come on board, and they are raging assholes.
Yes,
we'll say.
Led by Captain Clay.
Clay. CLAY. That's his name. It's such a weird name, but all right. We'll go with it. And obviously, the writer is making a point here, I guess, that I don't know if Navy SEALs are assholes or just military in general are assholes or rah Americans are assholes. I don't know. But he's trying to make us a point on something like that. So he comes in and then he's like, hey, where's our guys? We don't have all of them here. And then they look at their cameras from underneath the boat and we just see blood. And it turns out the sharks are eating their guys. And we get our first shot of actual Hookjaw, and they're in the middle of all these other sharks that are great whites, but it is obviously the biggest great white.
Very much so.
And you just see the diving, there's an arm and a wetsuit tied to the hook, or the hook's going through it, spearing through it. You see all this blood everywhere, and then we get the thought process of Hookjaw saying, more, need more, always more flesh. So, I'm assuming it really liked this because they're bad guys, I guess.
Yeah.
They're Navy SEALs. I don't know. So then we're stuck on this boat, right? This boat is, I don't know if it's, it's not down and out. I guess the Navy SEALs are just taking it in.
Yeah.
It's not they broke it or anything. So.
No, I think they're just not commandeering, but they're
they're saving them.
Yeah.
They're oh, well, the pirates are dead. We're going to take the pirate boat and this boat and then take it back to shore, I guess. Or
something, but except Clay, he kind of gets an Ahab complex.
Yeah, he gets a vendetta against Hookjaw because he's that fucking shark.
The beast must die.
The beast must die. He just says that the whole time.
Keeps saying that the entire time.
And this is where we get that this is actually a sequel, I guess, not a hard reboot, to the old hook jaw, which they mentioned that back in the day in the 70s there was all like Shark Mania when Jaws came out and shit, and hook jaw came out around then, and it was in Action Comics back, the British Action Comics, or the British comic called Action, we'll say, to not confuse anybody with the Superman comics. And so we just get like a breakdown of the history. So this shark must be real, I guess, because that shark had a hook in its mouth, and the beast must die. And so then we find out that there is, behind the Navy SEALs, of course, there's a government person.
Official.
Yeah. We don't know exactly what she is, because they say multiple times that she is with the CIA, and also that she is with the UN Council of whatever. So she's either with the UN or with the CIA or somehow both. But she has, I guess, been given the authority to stop piracy or whatever, and that is like her main thing. And
they're also looking for something.
Yes, well, the stop piracy, and they're looking for, and I will just fucking spoil it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But they're looking for something that fell in the water, or that was on transport that the pirates have stolen. So what they stole is a like weather device that's I guess it's like HARP. I don't know if you ever heard of HARP, but that is like a machine that is a conspiracy machine or whatever that like conspiracy theorists talk about, that can seed weather with like radio waves or whatever, or like disrupt patterns in areas and stuff, like ruin.
I've not heard of that.
Send high frequency stuff through cities and make people go crazy and shit. So it's a conspiracy thing, but it's like that, where it's like, okay, this machine can seed weather, so like it can seed clouds to rain, so when global warming hits, it can rain and not have an issue. And that's the government's solution to this. Of course, the machine was stolen by pirates, and that's why the government is after these pirates. And it was stolen by the pirates that they ended up murdering on the boat at the beginning, but we'll find out later. That wasn't the only amount of pirates. There's like a bigger group of them.
Yeah, there's much more.
Yes, and so the main character, Maggie, is with them, of course, and she, I don't know, she only seems to care about like the shark's well-being, I guess, with the professor, and they're like, okay, well, we need to find that, and like, where is that? And then also like we're tracking our sharks, because the Lieutenant Clay, the Navy SEAL, is like, I need to kill the beast so they can track where the sharks are going, because they have the trackers on them. So they're kind of following them, and they all come to like a head where we find out that where the pirates originally stole or were trying to steal the weather machine on accident. I don't even know if it was on accident. Did they know about it?
I don't think they knew about it. I think that they attacked a larger boat, and
so it's like a canister boat, like
it's got a bunch of those big not trailers,
canisters.
Canisters. Yeah, I know, but they have, what do they have? They have like a really specific name, like
they make houses out of them now. I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah, the big
metal canisters that are on loading docks or shipping yards. Or whatever.
They put in the back of trucks. I don't know why I'm blanking, but yes, those.
You know what we're talking about.
Batman had one. You opened it up, and then it took him down to his.
Yeah, the Joker flipped one over.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But yeah, so the
shipping container.
Shipping container. See,
I was
close enough. Canister container. So in these shipping containers, there's regular goods and stuff, but one of them had this machine. I don't know why they were transporting it on that. You think the government would have its own special secret?
No, if you put it in with those, then
but then anything could happen.
Yeah, but then
as opposed to you having your own
secret control of it, and make sure nothing happens to it.
Yeah. I'm not talking about their own container ship. I'm talking about just the one ship that they have with one container that has the special thing in it.
Yeah, but if we put it in this, then it doesn't.
Look, John, you don't need to make excuses for why this comic doesn't make sense all the time, right? So, yeah, it's a little weak, I'll say, that plot point, but that ship goes down when the pirates are attacking because it's in like the storm, and I think that is where that survivor came from at the beginning that was floating on their own, and so the canister goes down. It's got the weather machine in it. It also, because they had to hide it, the fact that there was a special weather machine in there, they put a bunch of pig bodies. I said pig body. They put a bunch of meat that is pork and like whole pigs that were like, ready to be barbecued or whatever in the container with it, like to be like, oh, it's just meat we're shipping. Which I was like, do they ship meat in containers? I don't think they do.
Big non-air conditioned.
Yeah. I mean,
definitely.
There's no power in them or anything, so I don't know how that would work, but all right. So once again, a flaw in this in this thought process. And then so when it went down, all those pigs, the bodies start floating around and get released, and then the sharks are like, fuck yeah, so they're hanging around this area. And also we find out that it's kind of like their spawning ground. And this is where we find out that a big change in, like I said, the history or the a monumental discovery about Hookjaw is that Hookjaw, even though we never said before, is a woman, is a female shark.
A female shark.
A woman.
A woman. she's a woman in a shark suit. That would be.
Is a female shark, and so yeah.
And she,
I just picture it in a wig.
Yeah, that's how they know. They have there's a wig and a little beret,
a bow. Yeah, you
bow.
had the best suggestion. Like they should have put a bow on. I thought that would have been hilarious.
She's swimming along, and then because you only see her from like one angle usually, and then she turns, and there's a little bow, and it's like
or beret.
Yeah, and like that's how they get it across.
Yeah,
which is because it was just funny the way that they put it. You're like, oh, she's like,
it's like such a revelation.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I don't know. Like, to be fair, I always did think it was a guy shark or whatever because I don't know. Maybe they even said he in the old book or something.
Yeah.
But they weren't really like looking for the sex of the shark, and they also didn't know anything about sharks back then. So it's possible they said he or whatever, and they just were generalizing and assuming because it's a murderous shark. But we find out that women or female sharks can murder as well. Because Hookjaw is a female.
Yeah.
So.
And she leads the group of.
Yeah, of course she does.
Yeah.
She's like, this.
She's a boss ass bitch.
Yeah, she's exactly. So, she goes, they're all in this area because they're spawning. And Hookjaw is, I guess, protecting them or they're just in this. It seemed like she's very covetous of her shark ladies.
I think so. I feel like, that's like her like coven, we'll call it, of
shark witches.
Shark witches. Well, she's got some kind of supernatural, right? She's lived for a long time. She's got the hook in her. She's sentient.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna call her a witch shark.
You know what? Volume 2 of this, John. You go for it. You write that. So there's a couple scenes in this where like they finally realize, okay, that's where the sharks are, and they're there.
And this is one of my this scene. This is actually one of the ones where I had a moment like you, and I was like, I don't believe this. This doesn't make sense. I don't think these people have ever been diving because they show them like off of their boats, and they're like, okay, they're gonna get in the water and they're gonna swim over there, and like when they show, it looks like the distance would be like you would not dive that far away from your boat.
Okay, I don't know how deep the ocean is off Somalia, but when they dive down, it is fucking black. It's daytime above. It is fucking black. That means you are super, super deep. I don't know if you've ever gone in the ocean and dived down. It's blue for a while.
Yeah.
It might be dark blue, but it's blue for a while. There are pitch black in the ocean where this thing is. So they're pretty far down. These are not experienced divers. These are the scientist people. So like, and when I say experienced divers, I mean like deep sea fucking, like the Navy SEALs you might expect to be able to do that. But they are, I don't even think the Navy SEAls are in here.
I think the one or two are.
Maybe the main guy, maybe Clay is because he's on his mission or whatever. But definitely, like they're down there and they're just kind of, I guess, trying to identify where the machine is. They dive down there where the container ship is, like all the containers are everywhere over the bottom of the ocean. And they find the one that they're looking for. Also, I was like, would the machine still work after it's been sitting
in the water
that deep in the water, sitting in salt water? I mean, machines don't generally hold up that well underwater. I'm just saying. So probably still doesn't work. But I guess they don't want anybody to find it in general. Like, they could have just exploded it right there. Like, we already have the schematics. We could build a new one. We should just blow this one up.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they should do. But apparently they can't remake it. So, also, none of the other sharks, while they dive down, are attacking them. But when they're coming up, all of a sudden we see the word flesh. So we know Hookjaw is in the area. And she begins to start murdering all of them. or at least one of them. Is the one that gets murdered? Is that Jasper?
No, it's not Jasper because Jasper is still later.
Okay, there's a bunch of I guess maybe a couple Navy SEALs or some other people that aren't important that can die.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. So we'll call them red shirts.
Yeah, Mags does not die yet.
Yeah, Mags doesn't die, and the main Navy SEAL guy doesn't die. Only the Hookjaw red shirts die, basically. So Mags has an idea because they've recently, or not recently, in the earlier books, they kind of mentioned that there's some kind of electromagnetic technology that they have that can sway sharks. So obviously anything electric can sway sharks is their reasoning in this, because she takes what I'm guessing is like, what are those cameras called? Those disposable cameras?
Yeah.
Do those work underwater? I don't know.
It's got a clear. Well, they do have ones that work underwater.
Yes.
They have the little.
But when you
covers.
remove the, okay, so literally she charges it up and it shocks the water. But I'm like, you can't do that unless you take it out of its package. In which case, I don't think it would
work.
Shock the water. So somehow she is able to do that, and it shocks the water, like disorienting Hookjaw, and then I guess the light shines or whatever,
something
flashes
and freaks out Hookjaw. Hookjaw ends up like stabbing another person along the way, but like I don't think also Hookjaw meant to do that one. It didn't seem like that one was purposeful.
Yeah, it was just like and then it accidentally hooked someone. It's like, oh well, I'll hook someone. So we find out that light above was not the Flash. It was actually the government showing up. The government lady is here, the UN CIA operative or whatever. She is here with her boat, and they are, I guess, trying to recover as well, all this stuff going on. So then they get taken, not hostage, but the government basically kidnaps them or whatever, or like arrest them. They put them under arrest. I mean, it's weird because they're not like actually in any law or anything. So it's like they're technically kidnapping them because they're arresting them without any like charges or anything like that. So
yeah, this was an odd scene. So like they took the rest of the divers, and they're like ashore now, and like on a little, I guess an island thing, a little
an atoll.
Yeah, and then like Clay is like going behind them and like kind of talking to him, and like.
They have them like with their hands bound behind their back and their mouths taped like they're gonna murder them. So.
Yeah, and even Clay like says something kind of like it almost seems a little like kind of rapey.
Yeah, he like basically threatens to rape her because they're trying to, I guess, get information. I don't know exactly what they're like. They're the only witnesses to this thing happening, I guess. So I don't know. It just seems like they're trying to intimidate them to not talk, and if they won't be intimidated, then they'll just get killed, and apparently Clay will rape her as well. So, very nice people, you know what I mean? So, then that's where we actually find out here that the pigs are like the reason why the sharks were there, because they find pig bones on the beach. Like, why are there pig bones on this beach? There's no pigs on this beach.
Yeah, Somalia is a Muslim country, so why would there be pig bones?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
That was her reasoning.
Someone's cheating. That's
where they're out on the island. Someone's out here on this island secretly eating pork.
Yes,
that's horrible.
John, you're going to hell. So we I guess get off that island because I guess they agree to help or something. I'm not exactly sure why they got off the island.
Yeah, it was weird because like she's tied up and then he like unties her and does the little like oh, you better watch it because you might get raped thing. And then she like smacks him with one of the pig jawbones and he even bleeds and stuff. And they have a moment and then they're fine. And then they just
he doesn't like freak out and actually try to attack her or whatever. And then it's just like, okay, well.
And they're like, where are that's when she's like, why are there pig bones here? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and just the pig bones coming up changes the subject of we were going to rape / kill you. Like, and then we're back on the ship. So, all right. Sure, we're just going to skip all that. So while they're driving back, they see Hookjaw is like chasing them, and Libin, the Muslim kid, he's still with them. So the 3 people left of this team, I guess the professor's still alive, but she's not with them here, right? And then you got Mags, Libin, the kitchen boy,
and Jasper,
who's also a pirate, and then Jasper, the annoying fucking progressive liberal guy that's annoying. And so Libin pushes Jasper and Maggie out, I guess because they're tied together or something, right? Or they're like, or I guess Jasper grabs Maggie as he's flying out of the boat.
Yeah.
because Hookjaw's chasing them, and it looked like he was gonna maybe like she's got the spear in her mouth, so she could like puncture the boat because it's like one of those
it's like
inflatable crafts or whatever. So, so Libin's like, well, fuck you, Jasper. Like you'll distract the shark, and so she pushes Jasper out. He grabs Maggie. They both fly out, and then Maggie has to get back on the boat. Luckily, they come back and save her.
I think Clay pulls her up back into the little boat.
Yes, and Jasper, my man, this is where he meets his end. He just gets totally torn apart.
I did like this because it shows like the shark like ripping through a body, and then you just see Jasper's like glasses floating in the water.
Yes, so you know that's how it happened.
That's one thing. We were kind of talking about this. They did not pull punches when it was showing the sharks kill people. Like
yes, and also who they killed. Like there was no one like out of bounds, I guess, except Maggie.
Yeah.
Everybody else, you weren't sure if they were going to die, or some people you knew they were going to die, but others you're like, oh, I don't know, because when they're like on their speedboat, they get captured by the pirates again. The pirates show up and they're like, you're trying to steal our stuff that's at the bottom of the ocean, and like also like what is this government bullshit, and so this is like the son of the guy that got killed in the first issue, the first death, we'll say, that Hookjaw got to eat after he was shot by the Navy SEALs. So and this was weird, I thought. So this is like them establishing like the lore of Hookjaw. We kind of already know that she is a vengeful shark, right? Like she remembers wrongs done to her and then will track down those certain people. So they go into why the shark was attacking or mad at the pirates in the first place, like why it went after them in general. And apparently the dad that I guess got killed in the beginning, he was like the leader of these pirates. He was like washing his hands off after they took over that canister ship and put his hand in the water, which I was like, how low is this canister ship? Those ships are pretty fucking high. Yeah. So he just reaches down and like touches the water. And then as he's doing that, Dorothy, the missing shark from the beginning, took a bite or tried to take a bite. He moved his hand, but it ended up cutting off his fingers. At least and like I thought they fell in the water, but apparently they're like on the boat. Like he grabbed them or something and was able to save them, but they're still off of his hand. So the fingers are still with the pirates now. So even though the dad's dead, I guess he kept them.
They kept the fingers.
And the pirates know that if you put the fingers of the man who killed Dorothy, we should say, when Dorothy bit off his fingers, he had an AK-47 and he shot at her and killed her. And that was maybe Dorothy was Hookjaw's favorite babe.
I think so. I think Dorothy was a number one.
Yeah. Well, obviously they're not lesbians, but they definitely.
No. I just meant like her best pal.
Her bestie. Yeah. Okay. I thought you meant.
No. I like that's her number one.
Like, all right,
like
John, calm
her
down.
Second in command or whatever.
Sure.
I said it was a coven. That's her.
Okay. I get you. All right. Yeah. There you go. That's her second in command. Witch.
Yeah.
So, okay. So the fingers will call Hookjaw because Hookjaw is like, you killed Dorothy. So they cut like a sliver of the fingers in the water and it will like call Hookjaw to that area. Because it's like, I smell the man that killed Dorothy or whatever. So
man flesh.
Yeah, man flesh. Specific man flesh.
Yes.
So the pirates have the professor. I don't remember how they got her. She wasn't one of the divers.
No, I think maybe they did take her towards the beginning because I remember there was like a message.
Oh yes, I think they did. They captured her at the beginning. Oh, well, we forgot of that part.
Yeah, well, because they put out. I think they wanted like a $2 million or something. I remember.
Yes, they captured her, and they're like, government, we want $2 million, and that's why the government got involved after the Navy SEALs got there. So, so they have Lori the professor, and they put her on like a hook, and they're hanging her over the ocean like a big crane hook. And they're hanging her like over the ocean, and they cut a piece of the dad's fingers and put it in the water. And they're like asking her, like, why do you guys want the shipping containers? What's in them? Because they're like, our people died for that, And so Lori's like, fuck you. Like the professor just doesn't give a fuck, And I thought that was funny, or like nice that her character is just such like a strong old broad or whatever, like just the old battle axe.
Yeah.
And she's literally just like, go fuck yourself. And as she says that, Hookjaw, he drops the piece of meat in, and Hookjaw just, I'm here already, and like just jumps up and like tears her in half, which is probably the best splash page or piece of art in this whole thing.
I agree.
Hookjaw just murdering this old lady is pretty fucking awesome. Didn't even have to use the hook in the jaw.
Nope.
So yeah, it was pretty fantastic. And she's able, like, the professor's still able to be like, Max, don't, but her intestines are hanging out, like her spine is
now her
dangling.
her whole like half torso is just like dangling up off of the winch.
Yes. And so yeah, there's like a big, back and forth between the government people, or the government lady who's also been taken hostage or whatever by these pirates, and they're just going back and forth. And Clay is also one of the people captured, Lieutenant Clay, the Navy SEAL, and he's able to get off.
But he's got them
knife
skills.
Yes, he's got knife skills. So he gets out of the ropes, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill this fucking shark," because that's all he cares about. He's got to kill the beast. So he finds a bunch of explosives on the ship, and he comes up with a plan. And so he gets some explosives, like I don't know, they look like plastic explosives, but we're not 100% on that. They're just some kind of explosives, and he like stows them away because his plan is to get Maggie alone and give her the bomb, and then put the bomb inside of one of the guys that's dead, and then when they push that body overboard, the shark will eat it and it will explode, kill the shark. So he doesn't care about anything else going on. He just wants to kill the beast.
Yes, must kill the beast.
And so before that happens, they get sent down to, I don't remember why they gotta go down to look at the cargo ship again or something. But that's where they make the transaction. Is the Clay gives her the bomb under the water and is like, do this. And they can also talk. They have comms under the water. I don't know. I guess the pirates don't have access to those comms.
I guess not.
Because they do this whole plan. Like, here you go. Put this inside of a body, and it will explode when they put it underwater when she eats it. And so they get back up, and Clay gets attacked. They do get attacked by Hookjaw down there, but they barely make it out. Clay actually gets cut by the hook on Hookjaw. And I guess Clay is the one that Hookjaw wants to kill the most, I guess, because he's the biggest dickhead, I guess, out of everybody.
Can sense it. Something about him.
Yeah. And so they get brought back up. They get it seems like Clay's going to like try to break out or whatever, but he's just creating a distraction so she can put the bomb in the body. And then he does that, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? And they kind of push him down and like tie their hands behind their back. And then Clay starts saying, USA, USA, because he sees, like, I guess there's like helicopters or something coming, or like a ship or some shit. And then like of the USA that's going to like save them. And then as the pirates are looking up, Clay gets out of his rope
hold or whatever.
Yeah, the hold, I guess, that they had on him, and he like kicks the body that he thinks the bomb is into the ocean, thinking Hookjaw's going to eat it, and then we're going to blow it up. But that is not what happens. Hookjaw does eat the meal or whatever, but when he's like, I'm going to blow it up now, and he's like, you put it in the body, right? And she's like, oh, I put it in. She says, I didn't put it in the body, but we are going to kill the beast. And it turns out that she put it inside the shipping container. Oh, that's why they needed to go down there. They needed to put like hooks on the shipping container to bring it up, because the pirates are like, now we have leverage over the U.S. government, so we will pull it out of the water and keep it, and then we'll hold it ransom as opposed to the people.
Yeah.
And so the weather machine is on the boat now, but she, instead of putting the bomb in the body, put it in the container. And so when he trips it, it explodes the boat breaks in half. Luckily for her,
she just gets thrown off.
Everybody else gets fucking blown up. She just gets blown off the ship, except her and Clay and one of the I guess the head of the pirates.
Yeah.
So they're blown off, and luckily
I love this. Yeah.
Luckily there is a a jet ski just sitting off the. I guess they like left a jet ski there off the boat for some reason.
It must have been on the side
for convenience for this.
Well, to be fair, when they showed like the trail of ships that the pirates were like had connected to each other,
yes.
there were a bunch of them, so it's safe to probably assume that.
Oh, I should say, like, yeah, the pirates were in a connected group of ships,
like a
called,
caravan.
Well, like a caravan. It was very Waterworld, I'll say.
Yes.
So they were living on the water like an atoll or whatever, and they just had like, all the ships were connected by like little ramps and stuff, so they could walk in between them and whatnot. But yeah, I guess they had like jet skis there or whatever. So there's one jet ski left. I guess there's 4 people left. There's the UN lady, the pirate leader, Clay, and Maggie. And we all know Maggie ain't gonna leave, or isn't gonna die. Like so, but she thinks she is. She's been having a dream the whole time about being killed by a shark in like dark water or whatever. And so she's like, "This is it. This is why I've been having this dream." So she just gives up. She's just like, "Take me now, shark." She lays back and just starts floating in the water. And because of that, because she's not splashing around and moving, she doesn't get eaten. And this was funny, I guess. The sharks all spawned at this moment. So all the little baby sharks are coming out of them. And then they all ate the rest of the 3 other people, the pirate leader, Clay, and the UN/CIA lady. They all the little baby sharks eat them.
Yeah, I'll get it. And I love that, like in water, it's like sisters. Yes, taste the flesh.
Yeah, and so, yeah, I don't know. It's a little weird, but yeah, because she didn't move, she is not considered a meal or something, and so all the sharks then go away because they're like, well, we gave birth, and we're done with our spawning ground, and they leave, even though there's like pigs and shit there still, and people dying in the water or whatever. And so Maggie's able to then swim to the jet ski and ride off into the sunset. We don't know where she's going, but there's literally a sunset that she rides off into. And that is the end of Hookjaw. At least this volume of it until the next volume.
That we're writing.
That John and me are going to write. So, John, what would you give it? What'd you think?
Okay, so it was not as fun, I would say, as the first, for sure. I feel, personally, that we did not get enough shark killing, and specifically Hookjaw being sentient of her hook,
yes,
and using it, because that's one thing they really emphasize is like she is Hookjaw because she's like, I will spear you with my hook and like rip you in, like make this painful for you and then eat you.
Yes,
like they made that very clear in the first comic, and I really enjoyed that. It was fun because I always found like different fun ways for her to like come at you with it. And that I feel like this one we didn't get enough shark killing.
Yes, I will say I think they dropped the ball on who they followed in this. If we didn't follow that science team, but we followed the pirates, like from the guy getting his fingers bit off, like a more straightforward from the pirates angle, and then them taking over the team, the scientist boat, but they've been being harassed by this killer shark or whatever.
Yeah,
because the fingers are on the boat. It would make it a little bit more. One, you'd have more deaths, I think. But then also, it would make it more like, oh, she is revenge, like shark, like that is what's going to happen. So, yeah, I don't know. There's a way to do it. But I feel like there was some stuff in this writing that wasn't quite. I mean, it's funny because we're talking about Hookjaw, and obviously it's not going to be the most, like, best written book ever or some shit. But there were some inconsistencies that I was like, I don't know if you do that or if things work like that,
Yeah, and that's the thing. This is just like, to me, this thing makes me think of like summer popcorny flicks. So like I expected like, just like a
you expected the
fun,
bag.
Yeah, well, just like a fun shark killing romp with like a little bit of story intermixed in it. And I don't know, the story fell flat a bit at times, and then the shark killing wasn't enough for me in this one. Like I said,
yes,
like there were some really cool panels, and the art was really good. I enjoyed the art, and especially all of the water stuff.
Yeah,
all of that was great. I like the baby sharks; they're very cute at the end.
Baby shark.
How dare you. There's a head of somebody getting eaten up. I don't know if it's Clay's or whatever, and it's got like 2 little sharks like munching on it. And
I think
like,
it's Clay's head. Yeah.
And they're just because they're tiny, so it's like one's like the mouth is about the size big enough to like go around an eyeball or something.
Yeah.
So just like I don't know. That was
they're tearing up heads.
It's adorably grotesque.
Yeah,
Yeah, gruesome.
there you go.
So it had its moments.
I don't remember what we gave the original hook job.
I gave it an 8, and I think you gave it a 7. You
Okay.
like you still really enjoyed it, but you were surprised. I remember you were like, "Whoa, you're high praise," and it's because I was fun. I enjoyed it, but this one, I don't know, it was lackluster. This one might be, it's not going to be my lowest, but it's definitely going to be down there. I'm going to give it a 5. This is my I don't know. No, you know what? I was like, that's Hush. And Hush is a better comic than this.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 4.
Wow.
And
John
that
Johnson.
is, and that's funny because you say, like, oh, yeah, I love everything. But I have to have fun at least while I'm reading it. And I didn't have as much fun reading this one as I thought I would. Yeah. And again,
as you should for a book called Hook Job. Yeah.
And not to criticize it too much. And
what you're saying is you hate it and you hope the writer dies. Is that what you're saying?
No. But I just didn't have as much fun reading it. Like I said, the shark art was definitely really cool, but I just I didn't feel this one as well.
Yeah. So I liked the art a lot in this one just because it was so heavily correct. Like, I don't know, it looked so massive and big. She I was gonna say she hook jaw. Just hook jaw. Sorry. Looked so big and massive compared to even the big great whites and the other sharks that were there and stuff. And it looked great. I'm a big sucker for sharks. I like Jaws. I've always liked, Deep Blue Sea and all that shit. So this was she is kind of like the Deep Blue Sea, Gen 2 shark or whatever, which her brain's gigantic. She can think for herself. And, she just has a hook in her jaw. This is Deep Blue Sea 2 is what this could have been. But there's more killing in that movie for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, there were parts that I was like, this is great. Like where Hookjaw jumps up and bites the professor in half. I was like, fuck yeah. That is amazing. That's awesome. And I like that the writer would go out of their way to not pull punches on people that you would think maybe they're going to, because they did set up this global warming plot line and I don't know. There was definitely a political undertone to this, but it wasn't that bad. But it did set that up, so I just assumed they were going to pull punches with everybody who's supposed to be good.
That's true.
And
They killed the. I mean, he was an asshole, but they killed the main hippie. They killed the professor. So yeah. They did hit a lot of those.
Yeah,
people.
It wasn't as by the numbers as I thought it was going to be for what they kind of what he sets up in the I read the first issue and I was like, I don't know about this. I read that after we read the original Hookjaw, and I was like, oh, cool, a new one. And then I read the first issue, was like, I don't really like this. There's barely any sharks in this first issue, and we get a lot of setup about weather and just tracking of sharks and Greenpeace or whatever. It was just okay.
Green War. Sorry,
my bad.
I did think that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean there were things that were cool, but I think it did pull punches too much. I think it did when it needed to, or when I was like, you better not. It didn't, which was good. It killed people that I thought it would be. They are good guys, but they at least the shark doesn't give a fuck if you're good. Yeah. It should kill you regardless. And then if it really wants to go after bad people too, it's designed to kill.
That's true. The shark will eat anyone, but the shark does have its preferences.
Yes, there you go. It'll still say it'll eat someone and go wrong flesh, but still flesh. So I enjoy that part. You gave it a 4. Huh? Did I hate this that much? I mean the original is so much better. Just in general, I enjoyed reading that way more. I thought it was funnier, or and that one probably isn't funny on purpose. It's funny looking back on it, so know that going into it. It's not like the writers thought this was hilarious. It's just no, this was the sensibilities of people in the 70s, and that's funny to us now. Or whatever. So that is why that's funny. This is
it's not funny, haha. It's funny, haha, what? What just happened?
What the fuck? Yeah. But this is not funny at all, except there's a couple scenes that I was like, okay, I like that, where Like the end scene where the three people are trying to swim to the jet ski, like that scene, I'm like, okay, that's fun. That's kind of like something that would be in Piranha 3D or something like that. I don't like that she just didn't move, and that's why the sharks didn't eat her and shit like that. I don't know. There's just stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna give with you. I'm with you. I'm gonna give it a 4. I want to give it higher just because the art was so cool, though. Like I don't want the artist to, you know. We're not talking shit about the artist on this. It's mainly just the story. That was the problem we had, at least for me. I don't know if you've.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4. You give it a 4. With that being said, John, what are we reading next week?
Next week we are going to read the recently more controversial book.
I guess, yeah.
Oh, well, just because it's been in the news and like because it's been banned in some school districts and stuff.
Yeah.
But we're going to be reading the graphic novel Mouse.
Mouse, which is a Holocaust survivor story written by Art Spiegelman, who I guess this is the story that his dad told him about what happened to his dad in the concentration camps. And I'm not sure which camp he's in this, but yeah, during World War II, he's in one of the death camps.
We're actually doing this. This is part of our Patreon poll. We had a poll. We do one every month for kind of like getting in on a title that we read. And we had a tie this last month. We did one that was some kind of crime book, and then one that was going to be like a true story, like some kind of true life story.
Yeah,
and that's what this one is, because this is literally it. Obviously, the caricatures are turned into the animals in this, but
well, yeah, we don't want to spoil everything, John. But yeah, the book itself is called Mouse because in the book there's like anthropomorphic stand-ins for the people. It's not drawn like Secret of Nim or something. It's actually like because Art Spiegelman's known for like kind of newspaper cartoon-ish kind of looking stuff. So it's black and white. It's but all the Jews are mice in it, and all the Nazis are cats, and all the Americans are dogs. And so like they just kind of he uses that maybe to lighten it a little bit, so it's not as fucked up, I guess, as it could be. Or maybe he didn't want to draw his dad's actual face or whatever while he's in the camp or some shit like that. But it definitely gives it a feel and a different style. So that's why it's called Mouse, and it's spelled mouse like German MAUS. And so yeah, we're gonna read that. That will be I think Otaku Mike wanted us to do the True Life. So that's our pick for True Life. Last week we did Red Room for the crime story. And yeah, we had a blast with that. So, John, you've never read Mouse before, right?
No, I think we've talked about doing this like early on. I think it's been kind of on our list.
Yeah, it's on our list, but it's always like, well, do we want to read that this week?
Do we want to read a Holocaust story this week?
Yeah, let's see. Or like, what is the time of year or whatever. Kind of thing. So, but this is, I mean, honestly, any time's good for it. It's just, are you in the mood for it kind of thing? It is heavy. It is, a pretty deep book. So I have read it probably like 15 years ago or something. I have the hardcover. I read it like maybe twice. I think I've read it. So it'll be nice to revisit it. I haven't read it for like 12 years probably.
Okay.
And so yeah, read it again. And yeah, there's actually lots of comics about the Holocaust or like stuff that happened to Jews during World War II. I think it's because there's a lot of Jewish people in comics, so they have a lot of stories to tell and stuff.
Definitely.
Another one we could do if we do True Life again and someone picks that is Will Eisner has. It's not a World War II book, but it's about like it's called The Plot Against. What's it called? It's called The Plot. That's what it's called, and it's about like. The different things that people think Jews have been like scheming about over the years, and like all the conspiracy theories about Jews, but it's like in this comic book form. And Will Eisner did like a whole big thing. It's a really, really good book.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it was really. I read it and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, I didn't know any of this.
People thought this stuff.
Yeah. Think this stuff.
Think this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and so,
gosh,
so yeah. It was interesting, and like it made me go like a whole rabbit hole of like, oh, what are the protocols of the Elders of Zion? Who's Machiavelli or whatever? Like I did all this fucking research on it when I read it the first time. So see, comics can make you smarter. All right, you'll learn some things. So
yeah, why are you banning books when you should be letting people read they want to read.
Exactly. Everything. Get Playboy in libraries, right, John?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You read it for the articles. That's what I've been told.
Yes.
I've never ever picked up a Playboy.
Yeah, you're not a Playboy person. You're a hustler guy.
Wow.
Anyway, on that note, if you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can email us at planes, trains, and comic books, all one word, at gmail.com. And like we said, this was a Patreon, or next week's a Patreon pick. Red Room was a Patreon pick from this month. If you would like to get involved in our Patreon so that you can also have a say in what we read every month, that is patreon.com/planes, trains, and comic books, all one word.
And don't forget about our Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube channel. On YouTube, we've got exclusive content going up there all the time from Matt, myself, and the occasional one from our teammate Will.
Yeah, Will. I think he's in the middle of a move. He's a little behind on his Alien, but you know.
But he's doing the full run of what is it?
Aliens Genocide, which I think he's only got one more issue left. So
okay,
it's only 4 issues,
but he's a big Alien fan. I think we all are, honestly. So
yeah, we all are for sure. Yeah, and with that being said, we'll see you guys on the next one.
On the next one.
Bye.